All right, everybody, welcome to the couple.
Testing.
Welcome to Ask the Experts. It's only the third day. Don't talk about me, because if you talk about me, I'm gonna talk about you.
And the orange peels, please ignore
They don't
that.
see. Oh, they do see that. I'm saying, I go from sessions
ignore the
to a
orange
show.
peels on set.
I gotta eat at some point.
Assistant, producers.
We need a producer.
Hello.
We need a
Get
producer.
the man's orange peels. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? You're watching Ask the Experts, which is our version of Couples Academy After Dark. So make sure that you come on here and ask your questions. You'd be surprised how quickly 30 minutes goes by. But before we get into it, make sure that you
like, share, and subscribe.
share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss a show. And make sure that you tell your friends and your family. Do it right now. Don't forget to do it right now so that we can spread this message across the world, which is happening thanks to you.
All right, let's get into these questions. You're not here just to listen to other people have their questions answered. You're here because you came with a question. So jump in. We're going to go to the first question. I believe it is from... It's from Sean. Here's a good question. I hear the word infatuation used a lot when affairs are spoken of. What does it mean exactly? I think that's a great question. Infatuation. When you think about the word infatuation, for many people, what it is, it's an intense but short-lived passion or admiration that you have for someone. You know, there's something called the dangerous partner profile. And according to the dangerous partner profile, it represents an individual or an idea of a person that you have an instant attraction for, but wouldn't necessarily make for someone that you would want in a lifelong type of partnership or relationship. And so there are different things that can attract you to a person. In fact, I think we probably need to do a show on this because there's 8 components of this dangerous partner profile. But this dangerous partner profile, once again, instant attraction, short-lived. That's what infatuation actually is.
I'm just laughing. You know, our viewers are funny and got jokes. Brian is saying, y'all outside or what? Why can't you just listen to the advice? We are here trying to give advice, and you're over here looking at how warm and cozy we are.
So do we need to just be honest? So now they have asked questions for us. They're asking the experts the questions. Why are you wearing coats and why are you bundled up? Well, here's the reality. So we're working on things. We are in the attic of our home, and up here it's a little bit nippy and chilly,
just a little.
And so we're working on certain things to create a better experience, you know, a studio setup, but it's chilly up here.
It's coming. Wait till you see us work. You just wait. You just keep watching, Brian. You're gonna see a whole transformation in here.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question.
But wait a minute, I want to get back to that because I think there's a big difference between infatuation and love, and I think we need to be clear on what that is, right? Infatuation is a fast fantasy, where love is a healthy experience that you have over a long period of time. Right. And infatuation is expecting perfection or only looking at the perfection in another person. Whereas when you're in love with someone, you're accepting all of them for who they are, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, infatuation is a feeling, and feelings are fickle. They come and they go. They're up, they're down, they're in, they're out. But there's stability in love because it's consistent and it's steady. And so there is something called an affair love, which is different than authentic, genuine love in a relationship. They can't be compared. They're completely different. I remember a couple months ago, Sean, this may have been before you started tuning into the show, we talked about the difference between a Snickers bar and a strawberry. Now you think about a strawberry has natural flavors, it has natural sweetener, and when you taste it, it's very, very, very sweet. But then if you eat a strawberry, the amount of artificial sweeteners that have been put in that, they deliver a different type of taste. Like the intensity of the sweet is like 10,000 times what a strawberry is. But it's artificial. It is not real. It is not authentic. It is short-lived. It doesn't do the body good like a strawberry. And an affair could feel like a Snickers bar, where your true loving relationship is more like a strawberry. So if you go from eating a Snickers bar to then a strawberry doesn't seem as sweet. But when you realize that that Snickers bar is designed to harm you, it tastes good, but it's not good for you. Whereas a strawberry not only tastes good, but it provides you with nutritional value. That is comparison between an fair love and genuine love, infatuation and love. So hopefully that makes sense to give you a comprehensive understanding of what that means.
Yeah. Google could have said it pretty simply too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, let's go to the next comment here. Shamika is saying, can you come to a realization that your spouse, after 28 years, I think is going from monogamous to non-monogamous? Can you come to the realization? I think that it's...
What does that mean?
Can you come to the realization? I'm trying to process what she's saying. Can you accept it? Is that what you're saying? Can you get to a place of acceptance? I mean, many people choose to do that. I've seen people do that. I've never seen that work out very well. There are people who are actually struggling and dealing with that same issue right now, where the spouse has stepped out on the relationship and has decided to open the relationship without your permission. And so that's something that you have to actually come to a realization of and decide what you're going to do about it. Some people are fighting to close the relationship. Some people are trying to stick it out and stay and see what's going to happen. Another person might realize that the relationship is over. So I think the most important thing is getting to a place of accepting what's going on so that you can deal with it. What we don't want to do is stick our head in the sand and hope it's all going to go away, tap our foot to the beat, so to speak, and let something happen that you are in complete disagreement with.
And accepting it does not mean that you're accepting that it's okay or that it's good or permissible. Mm-hmm. It's accepting the reality that it has happened.
Correct.
And now that I can accept, because many people can't get beyond that. Yeah. And that's what makes healing and recovery very difficult. Like, why me? Why did this happen to us? This was not supposed to happen. And it wasn't supposed to happen. And it shouldn't have happened to you. But the moment you begin to realize, okay, this is my current situation, I must deal with it, now you begin to take steps forward to begin to heal and work on the restoration of your relationship.
Let's go to the next question. Sonora says, is it true when a man cheats and says there was nothing there, I just did it because I could? And if that's the case, why cheat 6 times with the same woman if there's no attraction? I just did it because I could. Okay, so that whole idea... The whole idea of like, I had no attraction, I just did it because I could.
That's just ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, listen. I mean, there was obviously something there because you went back to the same person again and again and again. And this is an example of minimizing what it was, making light of what it was to justify someone's actions or listen, it's no big deal. It was just sex. It was just an opportunity. I didn't really care for her. There's really nothing there. But when the truth truly comes out, when you go through full disclosure, you realize it was a lot deeper than what I initially articulated, because I didn't want to hurt you. I was trying to avoid consequences, whatever the case may be. And so, no. There's definitely something there. Every relationship, every interaction is based upon some form of attraction. Now, that attraction may not be physical. It could be emotional. It could be we're attracted to the same things. It could be a number of different things that draw two people together. But there is something there. Not only are they coming together to engage physically, there are conversations that are had. There are text messages. There are all types of things that create the glue that binds them together for the period of time that they're in that affair relationship.
Absolutely. Here's the next question from Dee Jones. Is it always an affair when a husband no longer shows interest or desire and becomes cold towards his wife as if he dislikes her and without no known reason to the wife?
I would say no. It's not always the case of an affair.
I would say not always the case in an affair. There are many things that could be going on. I mean, consider the fact that we go through physical changes. All of us do, right? I'm not the same woman I was 7 years ago. Hassan is not the same man he was 7 years ago. We evolve, right? And so there could be physical things going on. There could just be emotional issues going on. There could be some resentment built up over time. It could be 1,000,001 things. I would not discount that there's an affair going on. I would put on my investigation cap and see what we can find out on our own. Ask some questions, right? But at the end of the day, find yourself, first of all, get yourself into a good conversation to see what you can discover together, and then get yourself into some good counseling.
Yeah. Francisco says, how do I bring up the option of coming back into the relationship? I think I need more clarity. So I'm assuming you're separated, you're not in the relationship. How do you bring up the option? Well, you're coming next week to the Last Chance weekend. So a lot of your concerns are definitely going to be addressed there. And listen, I just want to, identify you, because there's several of you who have been to the Last Chance weekend, or some who are actually coming, and you're using this as an opportunity to get questions answered in the meantime, which is smart and amazing to do.
Absolutely.
But that will definitely be addressed. It's a process that we're going to take you through. And I will say that many people, matter of fact, the very last intensive we did with an amazing couple from California, they were separated, living in 2 different locations. And that was one of the main concerns that came up. What are we going to do when we get back home? Well, what do you want to do? What do you ideally want to do? We want to be together, but we've been separated for X amount of months and we don't know what the proper process is. So we guided them through that process. We established some boundaries and a system of accountability, some checks and balances, so that they could be in a healthy relationship, in a healthy environment, and they've been phenomenal ever since. So trust me, we will deal with that issue. Any other questions, Emily?
I'm looking.
There was a question that somebody did send us. Sabina Guzman, how can you deal with the thoughts? Sometimes it's hard to sleep or to even work. It's very painful. I'm assuming she's talking about triggers. She's talking about triggers, and she's talking about all types of things that happen to you emotionally. And also, we want to bring Jeff in. Jeff is now part of the conversation as well. Good to see you, man. But when dealing with triggers and thoughts that just come in at any given time, how do you deal with that? And I know that, Jeff, perfect timing, because you have walked several men through these triggers and how to retrain your brain and how to begin to manage the thoughts that just consume you. What advice would you have for her?
One of the things. Ooh, is that mine? New mic, man. I don't know. Is that?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm making your voice, I guess. One of the things is that thoughts in general are not our own. They're things that we attach ourselves to through observation. And so a lot of us think that we are the things we're thinking. We think we associate ourselves with what our mind is focused on. But the truth of the matter is we're higher than that. We can actually observe our thoughts. And when you can observe your thoughts, that means that that's not you. Now, I know this is complex, but what you can observe cannot be you. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. What you can observe cannot be you. And so when you realize that, you can start to do what we call a catch and release. This is where we allow a thought to come into our head, and we acknowledge that it's there, but we also acknowledge that that doesn't necessarily mean it's a reality, and we let go of it. That's the first step.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful. And so when people actually do this, they're able to experience a shift in being able to manage their emotions and their thoughts properly.
That's the whole idea. So imagine you were watching the beach. That was the mission. We're not meditating here. We're just watching the beach. And the goal here is to try to maintain that view on the beach, focus on our goal, whatever the goal is. Okay. And this guy comes by with a really loud dog barking. And we get frustrated about that. We actually are choosing to follow that dog, that thought that comes into our mind. Mm-hmm. Or for a guy, maybe his goal is to watch the beach, and a pretty woman walks by. And now all of his desire and energy gets moving towards that female as opposed to doing what his original goal was, right? So what we have to figure out is what our goal is here in that relationship. And we have to realize that sometimes it's going to feel like it's a monotonous thing. But if you can get lost in watching the ocean, have you ever been there where you get lost in watching the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get lost in that, you actually start to enjoy the peace that comes from having something steady in your life.
Wow.
So these thoughts that are coming in become distractions, and you learn to let them go because the beach is much nicer. Now, if something is really happening that's dangerous, you can allow that thought to go there to deal with the danger. Danger is real, but your fear is not.
That's a good point.
That is
Danger is
powerful.
real, but the fear is not, because fear is an anticipation of something bad happening,
Yes.
which may not be a reality. And that's the thing. So many people are crippled and stifled because of fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of abandonment, fear of him or her doing it again. And it's that fear that they need to begin to control in their minds so that they can have a healthier version of themselves and in their relationships. Listen, guys, you're listening to Ask the Experts. We'll be right back after a quick announcement. I see more questions in the chat. We'll get to you in just a second. Stay right there.
All right, welcome back, guys. You are watching Ask the Experts, and I loved how we ended that last question with Jeff explaining the capture and release technique, which is scriptural, casting down every thought and bringing it into captivity. If it does not align with what God said, you have to capture that and cast it down. I think about all the times when I've had to do that. When things come into your mind, you can either agree or disagree. I think oftentimes we're agreeing with it and we perpetuate the thought. And we have to take ownership over these triggers. A lot of people think that we don't have anything to do with it, we can't control it. No, you actually have to begin to control those triggers, and that's a powerful way to do it. So thank you for that, Jeff. We have some more questions in here. Sonora is saying, why do men struggle with telling us the truth when the affair comes out? I mean, you weren't thinking about the consequences when you were cheating, so why not just tell us the truth and let us women make a decision based on truth?
Well, an affair is a lie. It's deception. And if I've been in one for several days, weeks, months, or years, I'm not going to flip a switch and all of a sudden become truthful. I formed a habit of deceiving. I formed a habit of omitting the truth. I formed a habit of lying. And guess what? It's been working up until this point. So if I can continue to deny, redirect, give a false impression, omit the truth, whatever, then maybe it'll work. And guess what? I got to get myself out of this situation. And the best thing in my mind that I think that I can do, because I've been operating in a season of unhealth, is to do what comes natural to me. And that is to lie. So it's almost like expecting a blind person to see, a deaf person to hear instantly. No, there's a process, there's healing that person has to go through in order to be able to show up differently. And so sometimes we're anticipating and expecting them to do what they haven't been doing. And so this is why we talk about individual work. This is why Jeff works with men to get to the core reason as to why they lie. Because, and we did a phenomenal Q&A on all the reasons why men in particular lie, but it's not just men, women do lie as well.
Do we agree that it's a gender issue or is it a personality issue?
It is not a gender issue.
Not
at all. I mean,
at all. But this is a woman asking about men in general. But I think that's part of the problem, how in society we believe that somehow women are the better half and they have some internal morality based upon their genetic code or DNA or gender that men don't have, which is insane. It's a personality thing. It's cultural. It's familiar. There's a number of different things we can pour into. Go ahead, Jeff.
And the real truth is, you noticed he was lying when he cheated. He's been lying long before that. They were just small and what we call innocent lies. The manifestation of that buildup of lies, the ones where he told you it was okay and it wasn't, the one where he actually wanted to work out something but he didn't, those lies, because he didn't want to fight or he didn't want to do this, those lies stacked up and became an affair at some point. So there's a series of lying, whatever those lies may have been, that led up to, that created the opportunity to even cheat.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer.
We got another question here. Valencia is asking, what if a person says that it was simply sin? It was a weak moment and they fell. Nothing more, nothing less. They insist it was not you. They take full responsibility and will do whatever it takes to make things work. I understand it was sin, but I feel there had to be a payoff and there had to be more to it.
Well, number one, it was sin.
Right.
That's a fact. But what I think she's saying is, he's just, hey, it was just sin. There's nothing more to it. That's all it really was. And she's looking to go deeper for a more comprehensive explanation as to the why. I mean, think about it. We're spirit, we're soul, we're body.
Yeah.
We bring all of us into an act. So fine, I committed a physical sin. But wait a minute, your mind, your heart, your emotions, your thoughts, your imagination, all those things there were micro decisions that led up to this major decision. So yeah, I understand that it's sin, but there's a whole lot of stuff that's hidden underneath that sin that we need to unpack.
Yeah, it sounds like she's wanting to understand the big why behind it. And him just putting it on sin is a real simple way of saying, I fell.
Right.
I fell short of the glory. I'm not perfect. She wants more details. But at the end of the day, brass tacks, it was a shortcoming. You can call it sin, you can call it idiosyncrasies, you can call it personal issues, whatever you want to call it. It's somebody falling short of what they promised or committed to doing. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you need to get into the hands of some good counseling so somebody can dig deeper and help unearth what it is exactly, what happened in the relationship, where the breakdown took place. But it may not have been her. She might have nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the fact that he said he's willing to do whatever it takes, right?
Me too.
A part of doing whatever it takes is to truly discover the why. Now, some people just want to move past the affair and let's just get to the relationship. Let's deal with the relationship issues. Listen, we'll get there, but we have to deal with the elephant in the room that brought us here in the first place. And that's when you have to go do a deep dive on the affair in the first place.
Absolutely.
There's another question here. Can you read that, Danielle?
The affair is talked about when I'm at work, when I get home, even in bed. Just like right now, we're at dinner with our 18-year-old daughter and her boyfriend, and we're watching y'all. Is that healthy to always be bringing up the issue? No. I mean, time and place.
Yeah, time and place is critically important, and you can't, as the betrayed spouse, be so overwhelmed and consumed that 24 hours of your day, you're thinking about the affair. You have to begin to manage certain things and understand time and place. There's certain conversations that other people shouldn't be privy to. Like, even when it comes to the affair, you don't want to tell the world. The world doesn't need to know. There should be a small select group of people who do, because they become a support system for you. You really got to be careful. And then, like, real talk, we've had couples talk to us all the time and say, listen, we had our date night, and guess what we were talking about? The affair. Wrong time, wrong place. That is for your work day, not your play day. Your play day is to have fun, to be connected, to rebuild and restore the relationship. The work day is to deal with the heavier, stickier issues. So you could wind up sabotaging a lighthearted date because you're dealing with dark issues that cause emotional hurt and pain. And then you're talking about it with the daughter and the daughter's boyfriend. And
it makes me wonder the motivation, because you can't possibly think you're going to have a productive conversation in front of your daughter about the affair, something that is...
Well, the daughter knows, in this situation, because I know this couple, the daughter does know about the affair. Mm-hmm. The daughter is hurt by the affair, trying to find healing. And so I would say mom, dad, daughter, not mom, dad, daughter, and boyfriend. Right. Okay. So I just, once again, it's about the circle of trust that you're establishing and who's allowed into it to deal with some of those meatier.
And this is not something that you just drop on somebody at the dinner table too. Like, if you're going to have this conversation with, mom, dad, daughter, then set that time aside and let somebody know. But it shouldn't just come up in the midst of the conversation with company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slaps has a comment here. I'm battling with myself, feeling like making the decision to stay after my wife's infidelity. Any ideas on what I can do to overcome this feeling?
Jeff, want to weigh in on that?
Your wife was unfaithful. What I honestly think there's a whole bunch of missing information here. Like, I've noticed a lot of times when women have gone unfaithful, men have been absent for a very long time. They were there, but they were not there. So I don't know the details, but I would introspect as part of that and see what you may have done to create conditions. Not that condones,
Right.
but what you may have done to create the conditions. Because I know in my particular situation, my wife did not step out, but I definitely abandoned my family emotionally and mentally there for a little while, and wasn't there. And I could have not understood, but I did become paranoid that she would, because I knew in my heart of hearts that I wasn't there. Like, I was there, but in another room, in another world in my mind.
And let me jump on this too, as it relates to the battle with yourself. Well, we talk about how you have four identities. You have your intellectual self, then your emotional self, then your spiritual self, then your physical self, and you're hearing different messages from each one of them, which means that you're out of alignment. And when you're out of alignment, you remain stuck. You don't know what to do. And so in that space, you should not make a decision, because any decision you make, you're going to regret. And sorry for sounding like a broken record, but that's what we are here for. Couples Academy is here to help you get to a place where you have clarity, where you're balancing heart and head to get to a better place in your relationship, so you know what decision to ultimately make. So counseling is critical in your situation.
Absolutely.
Sonora, I see you. I see you, sis. She's saying she's sorry for all the questions, but why? I am a devoted mother. I have been with him since 15 years old. I am 30 years old, 4 kids with him, was raised to value myself and husband. So why did he cheat with a woman who has never worked a day in her life? 5 kids with 5 different men and prostitutes. I'm confused. Maybe y'all can shed some light.
Well, number one, okay, let's look at this. You've been together since you were 15 years old. Now, interestingly enough, statistics suggest when you marry young, in your late teens or early 20s, or when you've been with, say, a high school sweetheart for a long period of time, oftentimes there's a increased possibility of an affair, because some people feel like, well, I've missed out. I didn't really have my dating years. I didn't really sow my royal oats, if you will. I didn't get a chance to really, be out there, and I've been committed all this time. And so now I just have this, desire to fulfill what I was missing out on. That's one of a number of different reasons. But we do see that as a pattern and as a trend when people are together from a very young age. We have quite a few people who come to us for counseling in that particular space. So that may be a contributing factor in addition to many more. Jeff, I see you chomping at the bits. Go ahead.
You know what I also never hear anybody talk about? The friends of the spouse, like, that cheated. Like, sometimes this is encouraged behavior. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen over and over again, where men will go to the bar or go to the sports game, and they're joking about this stuff all the time, about how they step out. And sometimes there's a little bit of peer pressure in there. And especially when men have a lot of single friends. And so there's a lot of things that can contribute to that, especially if he might have had some kind of peer pressure to step out because his friends are doing it. And the fact that he didn't have any of that experience at a young age could contribute to it too. Mm-hmm. So I just, I don't hear a lot of people talk about that, but I definitely see it all the time when I'm out, where guys are egging each other on, and I look down and they got a wedding ring on.
Wow, that's insane.
So your friendships and your circle and your environment is everything. We talk about a close call friendship with members of the opposite sex, but oftentimes even Danielle have had conversations about same-sex relationships. Like, Danielle has had the gift and the eye of identifying and spotting people who should not be in my life because of their character, their integrity, their ulterior motives. And listen, birds of a feather flock together. You become the sum total of your 5 closest friends. That's why you want to be really careful of who you're associating yourself with.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We got one more. Actually, I think Slap is basically agreeing with Jeff here, saying she said I was always busy and never listened to her when she wanted to talk. I also wasn't financially stable the way I am now. The affair went on for 2 years with someone I know who also was married.
Yeah.
So, that's an indication he was absent. He knows, he sounds like he's conscious about what went wrong there.
Yeah. And, even though those things were true, you were busy, you weren't financially where you wanted to be, that's no excuse or justification for why she did what she did. Oftentimes, well, the reason why I did it is because of you. No, that may have been a contributing factor, but you could have reacted in a different way. Cheating didn't have to be the option.
Right.
And so this is what we're talking about. Like, fine, there are reasons, right, for why we do. There are issues in the relationship, but at the end of the day, you have to take 100% responsibility for your actions because it didn't have to go down that way. And so listen, it seems like you love your wife. It seems like you're hurting, you're in pain. So don't just rely on this show. The show is an introduction into a journey that you can take with one of our practitioners to get the healing that you need and the restoration that you desire. And that's what this show is all about. So guys, hope you got something out of tonight. This was Ask the Experts. We will see you tomorrow morning for another great episode of the Couples Academy Show. And then tomorrow night as we talk about more of the answers to your questions. See you then. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.